Thank you. Our next witness is Mr. Lawrence Cohen. Mr. Cohen is the president of Duck and Associates in Tomball, Texas. His firm is a franchisee of the Great American Cookie Company and Pretzel Time. Mr. Cohen is testifying on behalf of the International Franchise Association. Welcome.
To speak to you about the credit crunch and the strong measures that are needed to promote capital access for small business. I'll try to make three key points today. The first is fairly obvious. Credit is essential for small business. The second, this is not a typical recession, and many more small businesses need the capital access programs of the SBA in order to obtain financing. I think policymakers should be willing to consider even temporarily further changes to the SBA programs, including sizable increases in the dollar amounts for the SBA 7A loan program guarantees to accommodate the needs of small business. And third, a compelling case exists that franchise businesses offer the best opportunity to promote job growth and a strong, sustainable recovery. As you said, I'm a franchisee of the Great American Cookie Company, and I'm here on behalf of the International Franchise Association. According to a 2008 study conducted for the IFA Educational Foundation, there are more than 900,000 franchise businesses in the U.S., creating 21 million American jobs and generating $2.3 trillion in economic output. I'm proud to represent franchising. The business methods, training, and support that I have received as a franchisee have been one of the keys to my success. From my first Great American Cookie Company store in Lafayette, Louisiana 30 years ago, I now operate 30 stores in the Houston, Texas area. We employ almost 300 people. I was very fortunate that when I began my career in franchising, there was a functioning credit market, including the SBA programs. Availability of credit helped me succeed in franchising. Today's small business entrepreneurs, however, are not quite so lucky. Under normal circumstances, small businesses tap financing from a number of different sources, including the SBA programs. But during this recession, lenders have dramatically curbed their willingness to assume risk. Some credit might be available, but the terms and delays that entrepreneurs are encountering can be staggering. This leaves the SBA as virtually the only girl at the dance, sometimes not the best-looking girl. Last year, I had the opportunity to add 8 new locations. I had previously acquired a reducing line of credit from my lender of 10 years, but it appeared that I would need additional funds in order to complete my expansion. The answer I was given by my bank wasn't quite no, but the terms being offered in late 2008 had become all too restrictive. I could borrow an additional $500,000 more only if I agreed to keep $1 million in liquid assets with the lender. In other words, they'd lend me my own money, but only half of it. My track record in the business and my healthy balance sheet were not enough anymore, so I actually chose to forego the additional borrowing and finance the two new stores, or the last 2 stores, using cash generated from operations. Now, the 8 stores that I eventually opened required a capital investment of $1.8 million and created 74 new direct jobs. But I'll likely delay opening additional stores until the restrictions on credit are eased. Lack of credit is keeping entrepreneurs on the sidelines and delaying our recovery, and the problem is even looking worse for those looking to get into business for the first time. Now, the findings of a recently released study, Small Business Lending Matrix and Analysis, prepared for the IFA Educational Foundation, support the notion that economic recovery and job creation will start with small business lending. In fact, the study determined that for every $1 million in new small business lending, the franchise business sector would create 34.1 jobs and generate $3.6 million in economic output. I would like to ask that this entire report be included with my statement.
With our objection.
If the committee would approve that. Franchise businesses are poised to help lead the economy on the path to recovery. Studies show that franchise industry consistently outperforms the non-franchise business sector, creating more jobs and economic activity in local communities across the country. A 2008 IFA report, for example, documents that franchising grew at a faster pace than many other sectors of the economy from '01 to '05. Franchise business output over this period increased 40% compared to 26% for all businesses. The message is clear, Madam Chairwoman. Provide small business entrepreneurs and franchisees with access to capital, and we will create jobs. However, we're not looking for a bailout. What we just need is functioning credit markets. If the commercial markets can't function, Congress needs to figure out a way to use the SBA as a temporary alternative. There are several steps that Congress could consider to make it easier for entrepreneurs to access capital, and I've detailed these recommendations in my prepared statements. I have one final note. Unbelievably, the SBA has actually created new roadblocks for small businesses during this recession. In March, it shifted policy on goodwill financing of transfers and acquisitions and placed a cap on the amount that can be financed under the Guaranteed Loan Program. Since the true value of most businesses is tied to the cash flow rather than the value of the assets on the books, the policy has placed an arbitrary limit on the valuation of some businesses. Finally, I'd like to suggest the best solution for the struggles facing small business is more lending, not more government spending. As shown in my experience in the hundreds of thousands of small franchise businesses in every local community, lending leads to more sustainable, renewable job growth and economic recovery. Thank you for the opportunity to participate in today's important hearing on small business capital. I think you'll agree that the franchise business community can play a vital role in this recovery.